Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Solution Spotlight. Just going to give it about another minute or so before we really get started. But yeah, excited to have you all here. Richard, Todd, did you have any fun weekend plans?
No. Well, yes, but did you see the World Series game last night? Wow, that was incredible. Absolutely amazing. About 18 innings, walk-off home run. I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm on the East Coast. I couldn't stay up for the end of it. It was a little past my bedtime, but yeah, it was spectacular. Absolutely amazing. Yeah,
18 innings.
18
That's
innings.
Wild.
Yep, 18
that's pretty
innings.
crazy.
Yeah, yep. And there's Ohtani is a player that has done things that no one else has ever done in baseball history, and he's a pitcher and the best baseball player probably that we've seen, at least in my lifetime. And I've been around for a long time watching baseball. Anyway, it was exciting. It was very exciting.
Who are you hoping wins?
I wanted the Blue Jays to win only because they beat my team, the Mariners, and so I thought, well, at least that way I'd feel better, if they actually finish thing. But I don't know. It's a toss up at this point. But I kind of want the Blue Jays to win. We'll see.
Okay.
I hope I just didn't create a bunch of enemies on our webinar.
I know. And also I hope that they win, but knock on wood that nothing catastrophic happens. Um,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway,
let's dive into this, shall we? So, welcome to you all to today's Solution Spotlight. Work less, scale more, the upgrade every advisor needs with PreciseFP. My name is Sarah Williams. I am XYPN Senior Partnerships Operations Manager. And joining me today are Richard Thoeny, Executive Vice President of Product Strategy for PreciseFP, and Todd Latocha. Latocha? Latocha.
Latocha.
Owner
Got
of Blackwater Financial, regardless. But in today's session, Richard is joined by Todd, who will share how he streamlined his onboarding process with PreciseFP. You'll hear how you can onboard clients faster, save some time through automated data gathering, and integrate your tech stack to build a scalable firm. And this will be like a back and forth, and you'll really glean and learn a lot of different ways that Todd has implemented PreciseFP into his practice. So I'm excited for this conversation with the two of them. Now, before I turn over I guess the mic and the stage, the proverbial stage to Richard and Todd, just a couple of housekeeping items. There is the Q&A tab, and there is going to be space for Q&A during this presentation. So as questions come up throughout this conversation, then just drop them in the Q&A tab right there, and they will be answered as we can. And then we have a couple of XYPN events coming up. So on November 13th, there is going to be another webinar from overlooked to overbooked, 5 steps to building a 7-figure advisory firm. And then there's going to be another webinar called Your Year-End Tax Planning Playbook, which is eligible for CFP CE credit. And that one is with Holistiplan, if I'm not mistaken, November 13th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time or Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So the same time slot as today. Last but not least, XYPN Live is going to San Diego, my home state of California. I love it. And it's going to be next year in 2026, September timeframe. I'm going to drop over a link in the chat so that you can purchase your ticket if you are interested. All right, Richard, Todd, that is it for me. I'm going to turn it over to you all.
awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to go through, give everybody just kind of a quick overview. We'll just walk through PreciseFP. I'm actually going to go and do a little live drive. We'll spend a little time just kind of orienting around the platform. Todd, jump in wherever you want if you got things in the way you look at your practice, and then we can spend some time talking about how you use PreciseFP and what that's done for your practice. So I thought we'd start there and kind of jump in. I'll just share my screen here with just a few slides if I can. Let's see if I could share my screen appropriately. Okay, can you see my screen? Does it look good?
Yes, there we go.
You can. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go through a little overview of PreciseFP. If I can get my screen to move forward. For some reason, it's frozen. There we go. Okay, so what is PreciseFP? So PreciseFP is a data gathering client engagement platform. That's like its primary purpose in life, is to collect some information, reach out to your end investor clients, collect some information in a secure way, and then take that information and do something with it. So kind of unlock that information. So engage with the client, collect some information, and we'll take you through the whole platform. And then once you've collected this information, bring it into the platform, and then use that information. Like I said, unlock that information because we have lots of integrations, and then send that data upstream into one of these other systems. So lots of bidirectional integrations. We can move data around quite a bit. We can act as this data hub that sits in the middle, but the idea is collect data once and then never have to collect that same piece of data again, okay? We're going to only touch on today kind of a primary use case around data gathering, like I just described, collecting that information. I'll walk you through that, and then sending that information into one of the integration partners. So we're going to focus on the digital fact finders, the template library. We'll touch on the risk tolerance, the service agreements, lead gen just a little bit, but just know that the system does a lot more than what I'm going to describe today. So I'm going to walk through that primary use case. We'll take a look at that. But there's so much more. And when we get into the conversation, Todd, I'll kind of pick your brain a little bit on some of the other ways you think about using the platform, and just kind of share a little bit of that. But anyway, we'll focus on that today. Lots more the platform can do. We're happy to set time up with you and walk you through some of the other aspects of the platform. Lots of integrations. Like I said, we have, I don't know, 40 plus integrations. All the household names, I think, in the industry. We're one of the most integrated platforms. We will, with any integration, many are bidirectional, meaning we can push data and pull data. And we'll basically move any amount of data around that we can based on whatever those APIs support through that integration partner. So if there's a piece of data we can move and we can touch it with that other integration partner, we absolutely will. But lots and lots of integrations, and I'll show you this here a little bit how that works. And now let's just go over and have a look at the platform. Okay, and just one more check. Todd, you seen the book of business?
Yep, I see. I see your all accounts page here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to start, kind of jump into the book of business. So in the platform, I'm looking at my client list, my book of business. Here's all my clients. If I wanted to add new clients, I could simply click the plus button and then manually create one. I could also import from one of our integration partners, and I'll show you how the integrations are set up. But if I wanted to bring in data from, for example, Redtail, I can go search in Redtail. I've already set up my integration, so we're actually going out searching in Redtail, trying to find a client that's out there. I just typed in Fox. We automatically go search for that. Maybe I want to bring in, I don't know, Dale Fox, and import Dale. So super easy to go bring a client, create new clients in the system, and you can create them as clients or prospects, whichever you want. And then we'll import all that data and create the client automatically in the system for you if you started from one of the integration partners. And then typical flow is going to be, actually, I'm going to back up for just a second. Let me show you our form library. So we have, like I said, it's all about reaching out to the client and collecting information. So we have a whole library of forms that are pre-built that you can use as a beginning point for a template for something you need to do to reach out to a client. So they're all kind of different practice management, but here's a whole list of new and updated ones. Here's a bunch of fact finders, which is what we're going to focus on today. Here's surveys and polls, tax planning, satisfaction surveys. There's a risk tolerance questionnaire, actually generates risk tolerance number in the system. And there's a whole lead gen platform that you can also use with web publishing. I'll touch on that a little bit in a few minutes here, but I'm going to focus on the fact finders. So here's all of our pre-built templates around fact finders, and you can drill in and see all the different ones we have. And again, these are just pre-built templates with different ideas about how to use the platform, and then you can take these and customize them. If you notice, like here's a wealth box and a Redtail and an e-money. So we pre-build ones. If you know you're going to go to e-money, then we know the data that e-money wants, and so we'll pre-build one around e-money. If you want to use Redtail, you can go ahead and just use the Redtail one. Again, same thing. If you know you're going to send your data up into Redtail, it's a really good starting point. Don't have to start with those, but you can. And it's really simple, just to click one and then you install the template. I've already installed this one. And then it shows up in your My Templates. So here's my red tail fact finder. They're super easy to customize. You come in here, and I've done a little customization, but I'm just going to go in and customize it. So here we're going to pull in your branding and logos and colors, and but it's really easy to change. You can come into the theme. You can change anything you want. You can get very granular with the colors and logos and the way you want it to actually look. So it looks very branded around your firm and when it goes out to the client. We also use macros, so we can pull in lots of information, again, make it very custom. You can embed videos, for example, in this if you want to send out one that says, hey, we're doing a quarterly review, and just a little video in front of it. I just want to collect this information. So lots and lots of ways to really make it a custom look and feel when it goes to the client. Very, very elegant experience for the client. But let's say I want to come in here and change some information. Super easy. Like you can see the little red dot. I've made these mandatory. You can come in and change things. No, I don't want that to be mandatory. Yes, I do. Save changes. I'm going to go ahead and delete this just so I can walk back through that. So if I wanted to modify this and add a section, super easy to do it. You just come in here, say I want to put something below it right here, and I want to collect a pet's name or something like that. That's my simple example. So let's say I wanted to add a pet's name. I could bring this in from what we call the data set and just search for it. Or I could create just a new field if I wanted, but I'm just going to put this in here. So we have pet name, and I don't want it to be quite that wide. It'll be something like that. So super easy to modify these templates. Make any modifications that you want. And once you're done, then you're ready to actually engage with the client. So now I'm going to go back to my book of business again. So here's all my accounts. Here's all my book of business, all my clients. Like I said, I showed you earlier, I could come into David Betters and if I wanted to import, say again, I have all my data in Redtail and I want to do an import, so I got a fresh set of data because Redtail is my gold copy of my data. I just want to bring that in, so I have a fresh set of the data. I could go ahead and import that, just like I showed you earlier. Hit Redtail, it'll bring in that fresh set of data and sync it up to the client. And then day in the life, I probably want to engage with this client and send them that form I just created. I can also do these in bulk if I wanted. I could select multiple, and then I can engage with a form. So say you're doing your quarterly reviews and you're doing 20 at a time and you want to send them out. Really easy to do, but I'm just going to show you one at a time for today. So with David, I'm going to engage David with a form. And now I'm going to see my list of forms, and here's my Redtail Financial Fact Finder. I'm going to select that one. And I could send this out to David. I could send it to, as a partner, Mary. I could send it to them individually. I could send it to Mary and David. We're going to collect PII, so personally identifiable information. So this is going to be a high security engagement. So we need to authenticate them into the system. Excuse me. So I could do it by email, text, password. I have this one just set by default to a text. I could just send it out. Maybe I know, yep, this one's good to go. I'm just going to hit a button and send it out because I've already reviewed it, whatever the case may be. I could come in here and customize the email, for example. So we send out 3 different emails. So they get a new engagement email, periodic reminders, and a thank you. Again, I can come in here and modify these any way I want. I could add my advisor name, whatever the case would be with macros. So change the email. This is the email they're going to get when they receive the invitation. Also, really nice feature is periodic reminders. So I could send this out to David. And then the way this one is set up is every 5 days for the next 30 days, it's going to send a little nudge, a little reminder. Hey, David, you haven't completed this thing yet. Here's just a little reminder if you could do that. And you could set that for, every 3 days, for 60 days, or whatever you wanted. So you can set a default there as well. So periodic reminders, really nice feature. Kind of set it and forget it, send these things out and then not have to worry about it. These can all be enabled and disabled. And then there's also a little thank you email at the end. I could also review this. So say I want to take a look at this. I just want to see what's going to go out to David, look at the information that I have on file for him and see exactly what the client's going to see. So what's in the gray in the middle here is exactly what the client would see. So you can see it pulls in my picture here, Dear David, kind regards, pulls in my name. So it's very customizable. All the colors and everything are my colors. But maybe I want to just come in here and look at it. Or another thing you can do with this is, let's say you just want to be on the phone with the client. talk to them. You could have this up at the same time, and as you're going through it, or you send it out and they say, hey, we got stuck somewhere, we're syncing the data back into the system as information is being updated. So you can actually come back in and like I said, if they get stuck at a certain point, they're like, hey, I don't know what to put in here. You could bring it up and look at it with them and then help walk them through it. Or a lot of times you can just do this for them, take the data and just talk to them and get the information in here if they don't want to be, actually entering the data. So you have lots of options there, but I'm just going to come in here and, oh, no, actually, no, that David's divorced, middle initial is actually an S. I'm just going to walk through it. Oh, and again, we have the ability to have required and optional fields, cascading logic, etc. So it's a really nice experience for the end investor. They really, just kind of walks them through the process. But I'm just going to pop over here to show you one other thing on taxes. So cascading logic, for example, do you have a tax statement to upload? Yes, I do. Okay, great. Then we're going to actually render a couple of screens that say, hey, for my federal tax return, state tax return, maybe use Holistic Plan. So you want to collect a federal tax return and then you want to send it over. And it's really easy just to go out and grab one and add it to the file. So once you've got everything ready and it looks good, and I want to go ahead and send this out, I could go ahead and just hit send this out to the client if I wanted. I can also just copy the link if I wanted it to come from my email. So you can send it out from your email, just put the link in there and they'll get the same experience, or you can go ahead and just hit send. So I'm gonna go ahead and just send this one out. So engagement sent successfully. So I'm not gonna walk you through the whole client side of it, but the client's gonna get the email. They're gonna click the link, they're gonna authenticate into the system, and then they'll see exactly what I just showed you. And then when they finish the process, we track everything in the system, but when they finish the process, you get an email. Hey, David just finished the engagement. We also track everything. Here's a timeline of everything that just happened. So financial fact finder engagement was sent to David Betters via email. You can track things through and see all your engagement. This is our dashboard and track all the information. You can also go look at just all the engagements that are open right now and kind of see what's out there, see what's pending, how much data has been filled in on each of them. I'm just going to pick on the one I just sent out here. So let's say I send it out to the client. David finishes the process. I'm just going to force this to close like the client finished the process and hit finish. So now that David is done, I would get a notification. So I get an email. Hey, David finished this fact finder. Excellent. Now I'm going to go in and I can take a look at the fact finder if I wanted. I could also come in and just look at David and go to David's profile. So let's say I send out, a bunch of these at a time. I'm doing a quarterly review. I sent these out to a bunch of clients and now I'm getting these back and there's like all this information coming back. Hey, all these people are finishing. You want to know probably what data changed. So if you just come into any given profile, so I just went to David and the profile for David and Mary, we actually identify in these green little boxes here, we tell you how many items were changed, and we actually track those. And then you can also just hover over the last of the little green arrow there, and it will actually show you the previous value. So that's a really nice feature because you can come in and quickly screen for any data that's changed and say, okay, great, this is, David is now divorced. Oh gosh, I should probably, life-changing event, I should probably get a hold of David and take some other action. So it's a really easy way to come in and just grab some change and just see what actually happened in the system. And then finally, once I'm done, like, okay, great, looks good. Now I want to go ahead and I'm going to export this data back and I'm going to push it over to maybe want to send it to Ray Capital or Wealthbox or eMoney or whatever. But in this case, I'm just going to push it back to Redtail. So now I can send this data all back to Redtail, do a refresh on everything over at Redtail. I've already linked these two clients together, but if it wasn't already linked, again, I could just go and do a search, and then we're actually linking out to a Redtail and looking through the clients that I have out there, and I'm finding David Betters. So I'm going to go ahead and just link those up again, and then hit export, and then push all that data. So all that data is going to go back out to Redtail and update all the information over in Redtail. And then one final thing I'm going to show you here, and then we'll touch on some of the other functions, but I want to get some conversation with Todd here. But so lots of integrations, and if you're interested in what all we integrate with, you can just literally Google PreciseFP partners, and you'll find this page. And we show, here's a list of or each one of these tiles is one of our integration partners. And you can come into any one of these and drill into it. It'll explain, it's bi-directional, sort of give you an overview. And then you can go to read more in our knowledge base. So lots and lots and lots of really good articles and videos in our knowledge base. But we also publish all of our mapping tables. This is super helpful, so you can actually see the mapping table. So we show you every piece of data that we can move back and forth between us and our integration partner. So here's the red tail mapping table, for example. I know this is an eye chart. I don't expect you to read any of this, but you can just see that, for example, we map a lot of data back and forth between us and red tail. So lots and lots of data that we can sync up and collect that data once, never have to do it again. If it's in red tail, bring it in, start a process, engage with the client. Once that data comes back and you want to refresh and push it back upstream, really easy to do. Click of a button. So that's this really high level overview. I'm going to stop there for just a minute and then Todd, maybe ask you to share a little bit about how you use PreciseFP in your practice and some other ways that people should be thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure. That was no, that was a good overview. And there's a lot to cover there in the really really short amount of time. I mean, like we were talking before we got started. Um, I think a lot of times people don't really realize just how robust PreciseFP is in terms of just the capabilities. And one of the things I said when we were chatting beforehand is, I have a rule that I try to only touch a piece of information one time, so I don't want to have to keep typing typing the same piece of information into different systems. And I've also learned everyone's always looking for like the one big hack, the one big piece of technology or tool that can save them all of this time in just one fell swoop. I found that it's the little things, right? Like the task switching and having to jump around the different systems. That's what tends to eat a lot of time and for me just chew up a lot of brain space. And so in my practice, everything starts in PreciseFP. Um, the admin that works with me, she knows that, and by that I mean um, my onboarding agreements, client onboarding questionnaire, all of that begins in PreciseFP. That's the first link a client's going to get from me when they onboard, and then all of the data gets pushed out to all of the other systems from there. So prior to using PreciseFP, I had used the eMoney onboarding template. I'm sure other people have used that before if they're eMoney users. And I guess they're just to back up my tech stack, just because I'm sure people are curious. eMoney is what I use for financial planning. Redtail is my CRM, and I custody with Schwab. So all things that PreciseFP integrates really really well with. So I was using that eMoney questionnaire, and the problem is number one, it wasn't customizable. So it was asking clients questions that weren't really relevant to that particular engagement or that particular client. And it was just frankly a little bit clunky and a little bit cumbersome. And I never really liked it from that perspective. And it also didn't have great integration. And so that's what really led me to PreciseFP. You were sharing some of the fact finders, and I use the forms, customized fact finders. That is what I use. So my advisory agreement is actually a customized fact finder where it has some cascading conditional formatting built in. Where, for example, if a client's just engaging with me for investment management services, I can use that one form just to engage in that one service. Or if they're using multiple services, I have it set up to where, based on that conditional formatting or cascading formatting, I can pull different parts of my advisory agreement into that one agreement. So that number one, I'm not sending multiple agreements, but number two, I'm not really doing anything different, right? I'm not doing any additional work. It's just all built into that system. So that for me has been a huge time saver. The import export has also been huge. I think the field mapping is really underutilized and underrated. That customizable field mapping for me has been really massive. And just a couple
Hey,
of
Todd.
notes. Yeah,
Todd,
Richard.
can I, so
Yeah.
you said so did you create a fact finder that is like one bigger fact finder and then you select and it only sends out the portion of, yeah, that's
Yes.
a really cool one. Actually, if you could maybe talk about that, I can share a little bit on that while we're looking at this. I can just show you an example of that. That's really nice.
Yeah, I'll let you guys
Uh,
pull one up there. The dynamic fact finder.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, while Todd was picking on that, I'm like thinking of all these cool things that you're talking about. I'm like, oh my God, I want to show that. So here's a dynamic fact finder. So this is just one of the form templates you can just grab. But I'll just show you one quick thing. So you can do some really cool things like Todd was describing, where I've got maybe this big fact finder with all this information on it. And I only need to use a certain portion of that. So I don't want to overwhelm them with a 10-page engagement. So this screen right here, so you can create screens that only you see, that the client doesn't see. So this is an example of that. And we actually say that right here. This page is visible in the advisor preview only. And then if you notice down here, there's 3 pages. So if I select some of these and say, okay, I want to collect employment information, family information, and estate planning information. Now I've got 6 pages. So you can do something like that, like Todd was describing, have this bigger fact finder, and then, oh, I only want to send this and this and this. So you can just have one work off that, select these, and then send that out to the investor. So just anyway, it's a cool feature of the platform that I don't think we talk about a lot. So I just want to share that real quick.
Yeah, yeah, and I think only asking clients, again, things I'm really big on. I like to reduce friction wherever I can for clients. I think we've all had issues getting folks to move forward, getting folks to complete tasks, provide feedback, sign documents, whatever it is. And I don't want to add any more friction than already just naturally exists. And so if you're asking questions that aren't relevant, if you have portions of your fact finder that are left blank because they don't need to see it, to me, that is a form of friction. And so again, I don't want to do any more work than I have to. Being able to go through, click those check boxes quickly, only send the client what they need. The flip side of that are the ability to add required fields. Right, there is certain information that we do need to gather, and so being able to add those required fields. And then also, right now, as I'm going through kind of some end of the year planning, I'm sending out some end of the year meeting requests and have some conditional formatting built in there. For instance, with end of the year tax planning, if clients are looking for a new tax professional, if they're unhappy, they can check that in my fact finder, and then it asks them to share some additional information about what they're looking for. And again, all of this a lot of this could be done using other systems, other tools, web forms, things like that. I think the real benefit of using PreciseFP are the different integrations, are the different field mapping, and just the simplicity. I find it really easy, really user friendly. I'm big on technology, but I'm not good with technology, I guess we could say. And I've done a couple live sessions with the support team at PreciseFP. That's just wonderful. I think that's something, again, things that go underrated. I think the support is probably the best of any of the tech in my tech stack. And they're always willing, right, to hop on a live call or help me through chat to really build out something in the exact way I want it to look. So yeah, just a kudos to them as well. I think that's super underrated.
I'll send you a gift card tomorrow for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, we bought that advertisement right there. No, our support team is absolutely amazing. Their response time in chat, I think, is under 2 seconds or something crazy like that. Like they literally are on it all the time, and they're really good at their job. So, and they're happy to get on some coaching sessions, like Todd said, and get you on a call and walk you through it. On the agreements, do you use the signatures for your agreements embedded too?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just to share a little bit on that, we do have an embedded digital signature. So there's a big difference between an electronic signature and a digital signature. We have a digital signature. That's the good one. That's the equivalent of what you get in a DocuSign or a SignX or eSign Live or any of those. So it's actually a digital signature, which is very important. But not only that, it's free with the platform. So if you were to use DocuSign, first of all, it's a disengaged experience because you've got one thing to collect the data. Now you've got this whole envelope send thing going out. And every time you're sending one out with a DocuSign or whatever, you're just hitting the cash register. Those are, $3 to $7 per envelope. So every time you're sending one of those out, it's very expensive. They're great at what they do, but we have that digital signature embedded in the platform. So just comes free as part of the platform. So it's a nice cost saving. Plus it's a very seamless engagement for the client, a seamless experience. They're in the form, they just sign it right in the form. It's a digital signature. So it's another, again, overlooked feature, I think, that we don't talk a lot about. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were mentioning the custom branding too. And I think this ties in with, you mentioned digital signature and going back to forms. And just for folks listening who may not be super familiar, you have form templates and then you have PDF templates. So PDF templates are going to be typically more like a DocuSign type format where you see the PDF and you're scrolling through. Where I think Richard, everything you shared so far has been a form template.
Yeah, yeah.
I find, right, if you're running a modern tech forward practice, those form templates are more in line with that, more conducive to that. They have a more kind of modern feel than scrolling through a PDF and kind of clicking the different signature lines. So I think that's one piece I really like. But the other piece is with that, you have that custom branding, and I was really impressed by that to the extent. I mean, you shared it, Richard, kind of what you can put in there, but the ability to put in your color codes and choose your font for different headers, it really allows you to bring it in line with everything else in your practice, so that if you see my forms, it's going to look very similar to, for example, if you go to my website, you're going to see the same text, the same colors, you're going to have the same feel, so it doesn't feel like you're engaging with a different system, which I feel like is, again, something that is sometimes very common for practices like mine, right? Again, smaller practices, a lot of times we're using off the shelf technology from other places, and so sometimes you can get this kind of disjointed feeling because you have 5 different pieces of technology clients are using. They all feel a little bit different, so it's really nice, especially for me on the front end when a client's first starting to work with me. They really just continue to feel the brand and feel a similar consistent experience.
And I always chalk that up to, I mean, there's so many things, the die by 1,000 paper cuts that erode trust. This is something that builds trust. So first of all, collecting that data once is huge. You never, everybody has the experience. You go to the doctor's office, they hand you the thing, the tablet, and you're like, oh, geez, again, really start all over.
Yeah.
So you never have to have that experience with them again. You collect that data once, and it's in a cyber secure way. They're actually authenticating into the system. So anything they upload, whether it be documents, whether it be data, anything, that's all actually they're in the system. So it's all done in a very cyber secure way, tracking all the history, all the audits. You got all the compliance kind of aspects that go with it. And then that branding that you can make your own. Like I said, people will put videos in the front of those. They'll put little, but pull in your colors and logos. So it really helps build trust, I think. You get that instant credibility with the client of, hey, it looks like your website. It's not this weird phishing thing or whatever. And I think all that adds up to trust and helping build that trust with the client, which I think is that's just gold. Having clients trust your technology and trust your processes is critical, obviously. But I think that's an important feature as well. But I just thought of another thing that might be kind of cool for people to see. Do you do anything with web publishing at all, Todd? Do you do any web publishing of your forms?
I do. I have a web published secure file upload feature. That's what I use for secure file upload over like eMoney Vault, for instance. I have them upload directly into a web published secure file upload because that maps straight to Google Drive for me. So it just pulls that information over, whatever they upload, makes it really easy for me to access.
Let me share something here real quick. So we actually have, go back in here real quick. So you can also web publish any of your templates within the platform. So I'll just give you a really quick example of this. So I can take any of my forms. We have a web publishing feature. So you can come in here and just pick any of your forms that you want and web publish it. And what that means is, and you can see in this type here, you can publish them as a URL, just a link. You can publish them as an iframe, a button, a bar, or that URL. And what you can do with that is then you can take that and embed that link into your website. So I'll give you a perfect example. I brought this up while you were talking. So I created this fake little website here, and then I said, okay, schedule a free consultation. So I published one of my forms, and then I just put the URL in this button on my website. So when they click on that to schedule a free consultation, and then if they fill this out, and they select whatever, type in my stuff, whatever I want. So when they fill this out, so they went to the website, I click this button, you're actually, now you're bringing up one of the forms. And when I hit finish, what it's going to do is it'll actually, give a little thank you again, pulls in all your colors and branding because it came from our system. And then what it's going to do is it will actually create that, oops, it will create that as a new user in the system. So I forgot even what I typed now. Oh, Joe Smith right here. So it actually created this as a new prospect in the system. So you can publish any of the forms in the platform, and then you can put those on your website. So a lot of people do this with like the lead gen pieces that we have. So you could put out there, hey, I wrote this really great paper on AI, whatever. Download here, put your information in to download it and use it as a lead gen piece. You could publish that on social media. You could put it out on your website, whatever, or you could do things like schedule a free consultation and then embed your calendar in it. And then it can automatically just use that to create users in the system. So it's a really nice lead gen piece. And any of those forms can be web published as well. Just another cool feature. But and then you said you are Schwab,
Yes.
custody with Schwab. So do you use the Schwab forms or do you use the Schwab advisor?
I use the export.
Use the export. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I should say I've used both, but I primarily use the export.
Okay, so what we're referring to is within PreciseFP, there's really two options, but we support the PDFs. You can actually fill out the PDFs and have those and use those, and then use your own DocuSign account, get them signed, and then push them into Schwab. We also have a direct integration into Schwab Advisor Center. And I'll give you a little teaser. So today we can only seed, it kind of drops you into a logical place within Schwab Advisor Center. We can seed it with just some really basic information today. They are finally opening up their APIs, or finally building APIs, I should say. And supposedly by year end, they're going to have a whole new set of APIs, a whole new set of data that we can push a lot more. So as soon as we get those APIs, we'll be expanding that Schwab integration. So to Schwab Advisor Centers, we'll be able to push lots of data over into Schwab Advisor Center. So that's kind of a cool flow.
Wow, that's actually, yeah, that's super exciting for me.
Yeah, I think the TD acquisition is finally causing them to really open up their architecture a little bit and start thinking about these things. And it took a little while, but yeah, they're coming around to opening up. So yeah, looking forward to that. But anyway, yeah, that's looking forward to that coming. Anything else you want to go over on the platform? I wanted to ask you a few future or other off-topic questions.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's just, I mean, again, there's so much capability. I consider myself a daily user, but I know I'm still just, I'm still just scratching the surface, I feel like, in terms of capability. And again, for me, it's just, yeah, it saves so much time. But it's the little things, right? There's not one big thing I can point to. It's just these little tiny pieces that come together that save me hours of work and more importantly, hours of just mundane work, which tends to be the toughest type to get done.
Yeah, good. No, I appreciate it. That's awesome. That's good to hear. So kind of unrelated to this, but it's going to lead into my roadmap kind of teaser. But so AI. So do you use AI in your practice?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I do. So this is pretty timely. So I've just started working with with an automations expert on some AI related pieces, and he had actually worked with some other few other advisors before me. They had also been PreciseFP users, and interestingly enough, he really likes PreciseFP because the way in which it exports data, so the ability to do CSV, XL, right, Excel file, whatever your preference is, allows him to get data out of PreciseFP into a format that can be really universally usable, right, in a way that he can then pipe it to other systems where there may not be a direct integration. So again, interestingly and timely that you asked the question.
Yeah. I mean, it's this the hot topic. It's the topic du jour,
Sure.
of
Yeah.
course.
Right.
Everybody's
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting though. That's actually not sort of a use case I even thought about, it being able to just, because you can export profiles and put them into CSV, Excels, and
Yeah.
so you can get data out of the system, relatively easily, and then use that obviously in AI agents and orchestration to be able to do things with it. But anyway, just maybe to share a little bit about our roadmap. Everybody's doing AI. Everybody's trying to embed it in their systems. So first of all, I just wanted to, so we already have integrations with some of the note takers. So FinMate and Zox, for example, great relationship there. And the way I look at it is, you can if I think about, like, I want to remove the friction. So our roadmap for next year is removing the friction. We started that with some of the integrations with the AI note takers. I want to have a conversation around a financial plan, pull some information out of that, right? Now I probably want to upload a document and get information off that document potentially, or And that's great. You can get a bunch of information out of those, out of documents, extract it using AI, conversation, extract it using AI, but you never have that last mile. You never have the specifics around, I'm going to do an e-money financial plan. I need all the beneficiaries and all the other stuff and all. So that's where PreciseFP really comes into play. Kind of, I think about this last third or whatever you want to think about, the last mile to collect all that exactly how you want it. So we have integrations with FinMate, we have integrations with Socks. They can map a lot of data coming into the system, which is awesome. But with next year, a lot of AI, anything you do that you have to click, anything that you have to do that takes a step in the process, and you have to actually go into the system and enter information, we'll be putting AI agents across all of that. So anything in the system will have AI and AI orchestration around it. So everything from and even all the way out to the end investor, end client. So having an AI agent embedded in the form that will go out to them, and then they can literally just either have a conversation or upload documents or type in or upload a whatever, and just extract all that data. So anything where there's a point where you have to, kind of go into the system and take an action and click something, all those use cases through the whole platform are going to be through AI. I have a PDF that I want to convert to a form. I'm going to load it up. We're going to take that, extract it, and then create a form out of it. Or anything you could possibly really think about. Anything you can do in the system will pretty much convert over to, or make available. I shouldn't say convert, but make available AI agents. We've already started it. We're going to roll out, actually feature hopefully next week, around the AI templates and report building and PDFs, and those don't really touch the PII side of things. So we're starting there, but all of 2026 will be really AI driven, and then expanding our integrations. So that's another big theme for next year, getting more and more integration partners in there, like Schwab, expanding that integration, whatever we can. We're going to be adding quite a few of the integrations next year. So anyway, big picture theme, but we'll be doing a lot of really cool stuff. It's just amazing what you can do with the technology these days. It's pretty fun. But anyway,
Yeah,
a little
super cool.
teaser, what's coming. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Well, I kind of covered the big picture and we got into a little bit more detail, but any parting thoughts of how about how much time or can you kind of put a value to your practice on it?
Oh, a value relative to what I pay for PreciseFP, the value is just outstanding. I mean, it's maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but maybe I should back that one up. No, I think for the cost, it punches way above its weight in terms of the value to me. And again, maybe this is a unique experience to me, and other advisors think I'm crazy for saying this, but it saves me hours and hours of time, particularly when I get really, really busy. One unique thing for me, my practice grew very quickly, for a small practice. And so honestly, without like PreciseFP being able to help automate some of those onboarding pieces and having some of that field mapping, I probably would have kind of hit a ceiling pretty quickly. So yeah, I would say it's hours of time, but also just a lot of headache and just a lot of busy work that gets eliminated.
That's awesome. No, that's great to hear. Like that was not a seeded question for the audience. That was actually just like I was just curious. This is stuff that I know it's super valuable for me. So that's great though. No, I appreciate that and appreciate the kind words and the use of the platform. I will put up, almost forgot, in case anybody wants to come and find us. Oops. There we go. So anyway, super easy, just to go to PreciseFP. You can go to support@precisefp.com if you want to email and get some information. I put a little QR code out there. Funny that it always renders with a little dinosaur, but that'll take you to PreciseFP as well. So you can just snap that if you want, and it'll take you over to PreciseFP. But anyway, with that, Sarah, I think we're good to wrap up.
Sweet. There are a couple of questions that are in the Q&A, so I just wanted to filter through those with the remainder of our time. The first one that was asked was from Anonymous. Looks like they have two questions, but I'll throw the first one at you guys first. So I work with a lot of corporate professional couples. I find that when a couple is in a household with one another in my CRM and I send an onboarding form, it sends one questionnaire for both to fill out. Is there any way to send each spouse their own onboarding form? Do I just have to make sure I don't put the same clients under the same household until after onboarding?
So yes, you can. Actually, I think I might have shown that. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because it's a lot easier to show you. So when you do an engagement and you're going to set it up, pick on, say one, I'll just pick that one. So you can send it to the primary, you could send it to the co-client. You could also do it individually. So I could send it to David, I could send it to Mary. This will send actually one to each of them. So you can absolutely do that. You could also split them into different households if you do, if it's very common, you want to, you know, kind of manage them as two separate households, you could do that as well. But this is a really easy way to do that. Yeah.
Cool. And then the other question that they asked was, it sounds like they're having a hard time with the internal e-signature tool working on Safari, aka iPhones. Is this a common issue? They spoke with back office, but have found it difficult to troubleshoot.
We probably need to get on a call and look at that. Safari is notoriously different than all other sort of browsers, and it renders in different ways and can be challenging. Has nothing to do with necessarily the way we're communicating with them or setting it up. It could be, but anyway, we just have to look at that. If that's somebody, Sarah, if you want to put them in contact with me, I'm happy to do some troubleshooting and see if we can figure it out.
Great. They're anonymous, but
Oh, okay. So yeah, please reach out through chat and just tell them that you're having those types of challenges, and ask for a coaching session. We can get on and try to troubleshoot it for you.
Beautiful. All right, the next question. It was asked, Richard, during your demo at the top of the presentation. So maybe that context will help here. But can you step back and explain the problem statement? Sorry, I am new to PreciseFP.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the problem statement is there's probably a handful of what I would consider to be like kind of primary use cases. But streamlining client onboarding is a major one. So collecting data one time. So the challenge is really, I'm going to go collect some data from a client. How do I do that? First of all, I want to do it in a secure way. So I don't want to write stuff down. I don't want to send emails with you know, sensitive information floating around, or documents. So that's important. Now I've got that information, and now I want to, my tech stack, I need to get it in all these other systems. So how do I do that? How do I get it to eMoney? How do I get it into Redtail? How do I get it to Wealthbox? How do I get it to Red Capital? Whatever. So you collect that data once, and then you don't have to rekey it again. So that's another sort of use case, kind of flipping around to the positive side of things instead of the challenge side of it. But there's compliance aspects to it. You have a rendering of all the history. You can see every piece of data and the history of all the data as it flows through the system, the integration of the tech stack, the risk tolerance, and, you know, investment types of documents that you can flow through the system. And so it really solves lots of problems. But the really key element, I think, to get one thing across would be collecting data once, doing it in a secure way, and then being able to use the system as a data hub and then push that information wherever it needs to go. Todd, anything to add to that, you think, or?
No, that's how I use it. I think it's counter to how a lot of folks. PreciseFP is my data hub for the information that it houses over actually my CRM. Which again, I realize for a lot of folks that may sound a little counter, but it's because of the integrations, because of the field mapping, and how I'm able to push things out. I want PreciseFP to be kind of my number one data hub.
Cool. Next question. Can you use the dynamic fact finder in stages? For example, start with a few sections before the first meeting, then send it back out to get info on a few more sections for the next meeting, and so on?
Oh, 100%. Actually, and that's, Todd, you probably do this, but the way when I talk to a lot of firms and advisors, they'll actually have different fact finders based on lots of different segments. Maybe it's a demographic segment, maybe it's a, whatever, however you want to subdivide your kind of your use cases, but or they'll chunk it up. Like, hey, I got to collect all this information to go do this financial plan. I'm only going to collect a little bit right now. Okay, get that back, and now, okay, now let's get this next piece. So there's lots of, you can do that with different templates. You could do it with a dynamic fact finder. Lots of options, but that's a very, very common use case. I don't know, Todd, is that kind of the way you approach it?
Yeah, I have different different fact finders for different stages in the client relationship and kind of what planning topic we're approaching. So my initial one's kind of a getting started fact finder where I'm just getting the information I need to get folks moving forward. And then with the profile mapping too, if you would send out, say, a fact finder 6 months later, to gather some additional information, anything you've gathered already, assuming it's a synced field with the profile, is going to pre-populate into that fact finder, so the client isn't, again, kind of redundantly entering information that what you already have would be provided, but then they would be able to fill in any gaps that still may exist. So yeah, I do that. I have probably about I don't know, 5 or 6 different fact finders just for different use cases.
Scenarios. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you touched on something that I kind of glossed over as we go through it. If the data is in the client profile, so if something syncs up to the client profile, which we don't have time to get into all that, but if it syncs into the client profile, any engagement that you use in the future, if it syncs from that client profile, will pre-populate the data. So you bring up the next one, and it just automatically pre-populates all the data you already have in the system. So I kind of glossed over that a little bit when we were going through. That's a really good point, Todd. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, the next question is the signature feature widely accepted by custodians if sending their forms to clients using PreciseFP? I see sometimes they won't accept Adobe signatures.
No, actually, unfortunately. So I've worked with all the major clearing firms, custodians, and they're very particular when you get into the acceptance of different digital signatures. So very few honestly accept the PreciseFP digital signature for custodial forms. So most commonly people are using it for their advisory fee acceptance and internal type of signatures. But yeah, the custodians and clearing firms are incredibly difficult to work with when it comes to acceptance of a new digital signature. Like DocuSign just got there first, so DocuSign is accepted, pretty much universally. But every step along the way has to accept that digital signature. So the clearing firm is like the highest, and then but everything, your broker dealer, and then anything underneath that or wherever, however your structure is. But so it's a little difficult to get those accepted. I've been working on that for a long time. We've actually made headway with Fidelity. We're not quite there yet. Schwab's, they're interested and kind of open to the conversation, but not there yet. So the bottom line is, for the custodians and clearing firms, they still require their own, processes on their own forms with their own digital signature workflows. The digital signature embedded in PreciseFP, I'd say, is primarily used for, like I said, your own forms that you want to get digital signatures on that you use internally.
All right. And then we have 2 more questions as of right now. I think that we can get through both of them. The first one is, what does the onboarding workflow look like from start to finish?
Todd, you want to take that one?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's well, I guess I'm assuming they're meaning the onboarding workflow for our clients, so we'll go with that. Not for them as a customer. Well, I think it's going to look different for everybody. I mean, again, it's going to depend on what your onboarding process is as an advisor. I think, again, that's the benefit of this platform, is you are able to build that process, but also each page exactly how you want it to look. So for me, my process, I'm gathering all the information I need to basically open an account as a custodian will be the easiest way to describe that. I'm also gathering investment information, insurance information, estate planning, and tax information up front, as well as, I guess, to back up family information as well. So including information on children or anything like that. But my initial onboarding, it's intentionally structured to only ask for what I need to really get through the first couple of meetings with a client. And with that, I try to set up to where they can do it in less than 30 minutes. This is something when I've tried to do really robust, I know as planners, we love to have these, all the information up front. We would love it if clients spent 2 hours pulling all of their data together to send it to us so we can just, work the financial plan front to back. I've just found in reality that's not reasonable to ask folks to do that up front. They're busy. I work with people who, are super busy professionals. They don't have 2 hours on their Saturday to sit down and do this. So yeah, mine's very simple. If anybody's curious, I mean, feel free to reach out to me directly if you want to see, if you want to see sometime, I can walk through a live demo one-on-one with someone. But yeah, I think that just depends on your firm.
All right. And then this should be an easy one. Can you create surveys with PreciseFP?
Well, that was a softball to end with. Thank you. Yes, of course you can collect or you can build surveys. We actually have pre-built surveys in the library, and then you can customize those any way you want. So yeah, that's one of the kind of nice other features we didn't really get a chance to talk about, but yeah, surveys, very popular. We see a lot of that use case. There's already pre-built ones, and then people go and grab those and then modify them a little bit the way they want to do a survey. And then they can, like I said, you can also send out in bulk. You can do up to 50 at a time. So you can click, 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 send, and then get a bunch of surveys out. And so there's a lot of, efficiencies in that as well.
Cool. All right, there's one last one that just snuck in. When clients attach statements to the form, where are those attachments stored?
It can be stored in the client profile or in the engagement itself. So you can do it either way. Yeah. A lot of people, it just depends on how you set up that field. So it can actually just be in that engagement as a separate document associated to that engagement. Or you can sync it up and put it into the profile just when you set it up. Then you can have, I don't know if you can use other things like Google Docs, and we have lots of different document storage integrations, and then you can automate the push of those documents, or DocuPaste, which is a parent company, can also push those documents there. So yeah.
Cool, right on. Well, that was all the Q&A, and we are nearly at time. So thank you, Richard. Thank you, Todd, for your time today. What an insightful conversation that you both gave us and let us listen in on. For the rest of you attendees, thank you so much for also just listening in, for participating, and yeah, just giving us some of your time during this during your day. I know that time is very valuable, and so we appreciate being able to spend this together. If you are interested in PreciseFP, then Richard did have that slide with the QR code. Maybe he can bring it back up if you didn't get a chance to grab it. You can try it free for 14 days, and you can also initiate that on their website. There you are, scan that QR code appropriately and as you need. And then if you're interested in XYPN membership, you're more than welcome to schedule a call with one of our teammates, one of my colleagues, and they can walk through partner benefits that are available to you all. PreciseFP is one of those that is discounted with XYPN membership. And we're just so proud to be able to offer that and extend it to XYPN members. And then last but not least, there is going to be a feedback survey at the very end of this. So once you leave, please do fill that out. We love to get feedback. It's just how we operate, and we're very data driven. And so if there's anything that you are wanting us to curate for you or present to you, any partners, any topics that are top of mind, then by all means, leave us some of those recommendations. Otherwise, again, thank you, Richard, Todd, all of you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye-bye.